Hi, this is Neal Walters with BizTalk-training.com, and today I'm talking with Yogi Veda about the BizTalk Deployment Framework. Yogi and I were introduced to the BizTalk Deployment Framework by another consultant, and now we don't think we can live without it. Yogi, why don't you tell us what it is?
Hey Neil. Well, the BizTalk Deployment Framework was initially developed by Scott Colestock, and it's available as a free download from Codeplex.
Okay, but what is it? What does it do? What's in it for me?
It offers a repeatable and automated deployment and a build framework in all your environments, such as from development to production. It offers the same automated and repeatable builds.
Okay, one thing I like about it. Oh, were you done? I'm sorry.
It can be used to deploy and undeploy all artifacts such as C# class. I'm sorry, I'll go ahead. I'll start over.
Let's start that question over, okay?
Okay.
So, okay, Yogi, but what's in it for me? What does it really do? What do I get out of it?
It offers a repeatable and automated build and deployment process for all your environments such as development, QA, UAT, and production. It can be used to deploy all artifacts associated with the BizTalk application, such as your C# class libraries, your business rule policies, and custom functoids, pipelines, you name it, you can deploy everything with it. And even you can use unit test programs to validate the deployments.
Okay, that sounds cool. One thing I liked about it is for developers, it really maximizes the effort of one developer. For example, the first developer on a project, he usually builds his binding file, and then he checks it into TFS, the Team Foundation server, and then other programmers can use the same binding file, and they deploy their projects, and it'll build the SYN ports, receive ports, and even the IS virtual directories. Also, the framework would do the binding automatically for you, so each person doesn't have to do it separately. It's all taken care of.
Well, on top of that, the binding file can have variables or placeholders, if you may, to accept specific values. For example, if you had a web service and you had to consume it, you can have a URI placeholder, and then you would have an Excel file which had the specific values for all the environments from development or QA or whatever. But then you can use the same MSI, and during the build, the one binding file that the developer created would be multiplied into 4 or how many of environments you have into the environment-specific binding file, and you can choose that at the time of deploy.
Yeah, on top of that, it uses both NANT and Wix. So, Yogi, is it beneficial only to developers, or are there other people in the company that can benefit from this framework?
Actually, a lot of people liked it in our implementation. For example, the SCM or the software or the source control management, they like the framework a lot because that enabled them to set up automated builds, and they can set it up at like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and then come to work and find that it's all built and ready to be deployed instead of manually generating MSIs. So that was a pretty cool thing. And also it has a little bit of standardized naming conventions for solutions and projects, which made the tech leads happy because all developers had to follow the same convention. So those are the few of the benefits that the framework provides other than the developers.
Okay. So do you remember when we first decided to adopt this framework, what did we have to do to get it set up and running? Was it difficult? Did it take a long time?
First, we had to come with a standardized way of naming all our projects and a sort of a structure of the entire TFS team project, what it would contain. And then there were other things to be set up in the TFS, and some training had to be given to the developers regarding how to do the binding file and what configuration would you use to build and deploy on your machine as opposed to on other machines. There is a learning curve, though.
So would you say this product is for everybody or who?
Well, if you had like 3 or 4 small applications, it is not recommended in that environment because the cost of teaching the developers to use it might be more than the value you get out of it. But then, I'm sure you know that we use like 30 or 40 projects, team projects in our solution. So I guess the savings was invaluable, and also the frustration, I'm sure.
So do you have any final advice about this deployment framework before we go?
There is an upfront cost of manpower to install, set up, and train everything for the first time, but the benefits are realized over and over again and during the long term. And best of all, it's free, so can't beat that.
You can't beat a free product. I love what's available with open source these days. Well, this has been Neal Walters and Yogi Veda with BizTalk-training.com. Check out our website for other videos and articles about BizTalk.
Bye, Neal.